Good evening, guys. I'm back with another painting tutorial, this time with the Marder III, one of my favorite vehicles of World War II. And these are the finished pictures. So if you don't want to watch the whole video, you can just see it right here. But I'm going to go through step by step how I achieve these results pretty quick. I was able to knock this and two other vehicles out in an afternoon. So the file, this is a 3D print. I have the maker there, War Printing Marder III. It's already hollowed, comes in bits, and yeah, I was really happy with it. First thing you're gonna do is prime the model, Army Painter Desert Yellow. I have all the stowage and extras already painted, so I won't show that in the video, but and then the first color is going to take you the longest is going to be that coal black. You can definitely do this with an airbrush. And just a caveat at the beginning, that way if you don't have an airbrush, you can still watch this, but I will be using an airbrush when we get farther in the video. So don't fret though, you can still do about the same technique. It's going to be a little different without the airbrush. So you can be sort of messy with this. If you have the Desert Yellow bottle from Army Painter, you can go in and do touch-ups pretty quick, and it is pretty hidden for the most part. It's a one-to-one color match for the most part with that. So this definitely does take a lot of time. And I really want to focus a little bit on the wheels, because the Marder III, it's off the 38T chassis, which I think is iconic with the wheels there. So, and if there's any type of other black bits, so the tools, so shovel, axe, any type of track or extra track links. And then I think that's the barrel cleaner. I'm not really for sure, the ram that they push down the barrel to clean it. Again, I'm not 100% on that, but I painted it black. I looked at reference photos and they were black. It looked like metallics or metal. So, and then the machine gun out of the hull. So this is an upgraded 38T or Marder III with a 38T. So it's got the machine gun in the hull for the bolt action game. So, and then the road wheels, this was a little bit more time consuming. You should get them. I think they're worth getting, because it is sort of, like I said, the iconic look of the Marder III is those big old road wheels from the 38T chassis. So there you go. And now we're going to go straight into airbrushing. So the airbrush I'm using, Harder & Steenbeck Evolution CR Plus 2024. I got it last year, pre-ordered it, and it's been a great airbrush, using a 0.4 needle, if I remember right. And then as far as colors go, the Pro Curl Burnt Orange is the color that I have in the pot right now. You don't need a lot of it, and I do thin it just to, well, I don't thin it, I use a flow improver. You don't technically need to with the Pro Curl line, but and my PSI is set around 22 PSI, so sort of on the lower end, but it is really nice and flows really nice out there, especially if you thin it, or I guess add flow improver. I don't really thin my paints. And then you're gonna just hit all the edges. So if you don't have an airbrush, what you can do is you can just wash it. Like you can I'll link my other video for the opal. Use that same wash and you can throw it right on there, and then yeah, you should be able to continue on with the painting, and it'll probably be way faster. Just getting the weathering and whatnot. I just wanted to try another technique. This is going to add a lot more variation in the colors, or in the actual panels. You'll have some dark on the edges, and then nice light colors in the middle of the panels. And I just wanted to play around with some new techniques. So next color we're going to go to is Pro Curl Dark Umber. We're going to go right over the top of the orange, but we're going to leave some of the orange showing. So you can see I shadowed sort of the lower portion of the wheels there, just to cast that shadow. And you can see that this goes very quickly. So if this is a great way to do 3 or 4 vehicles with a similar paint scheme and just get them done really quick. Like I said, I got 3 vehicles, technically 4 vehicles done in a day before a tournament to a fairly good result. So you can see it goes fairly quick. So could they be better? Absolutely. But I was really happy with the end result. Next, we're going to go to the mahogany. We're going to get the exhaust and any of the wood. So any of the handles for the axe or the shovels, And that's pretty much it with the mahogany. It's going to go pretty quick. There is also the box on the side. I did not get that. I left it as the desert color, but you could paint that mahogany and then work with like a wood grain. So here's the axe sort of finishing up there. All right, now we're gonna get into chipping. So like I said, it goes really quick. I use coal black, you could use fill gray, you could use burnt umber, sort of your choice, whatever your main chipping color is. Have used black in the past, and we'll work up from that. So find a craft sponge. This is a sponge from the blister, the metal warlord blisters, and I just tear a piece off, and I make sure I take I get some black on there, black paint, and then I take it and I dab a few times on a paper towel just to make sure that I'm not going to go in there and push too much color way too fast, because it's hard to go back the opposite way, right? So it's not impossible, and we'll talk about that a little bit here shortly. But yeah, just get all the like areas that would have the most wear and tear. So that, or if like maybe your 3D print didn't print that well, this is a good way you could disguise some print lines or support little nubs. So now we're going to go Pro Curl Yellow Ochre, and we're going to go right over the top of the black with this same technique. So you could probably use khaki, and it should probably look just as good, if not even better. I might play with that on my next vehicle. I just make this up as I go. I don't really follow any tutorials or anything, and hope it comes out all right, and most of the time it does. So, and it's a little bit lighter. You don't want to go as heavy as what you did with the coal black paint. So, all right, looking good. And now we're going to have some fun with some enamel paints. So if you've never used them, don't be scared. We're going to talk about how to use them and just having some fun with them. But there are some things that we're going to need to prepare the model for, and also like your brushes. So the big thing is you can't use your same brushes you use for your acrylic painting, just because they're going to be dedicated to this. It's not going to ruin them, but you just can't use it with your acrylic paint. It just won't work that way. So find some cheap ones. These are some cheap brushes from a hobby store. And then you're going to need some mineral spirits, and then whatever enamel or oil paint of your choice. You can use a regular black or a dark umber from Winsor Newton. That's who I'd consider for an oil paint. And you could do the exact same thing with those and not have to buy a $20 product if you didn't want to, right? So and really how I'm using it here is probably those would probably be better, because I'm really sort of using it more as a pin wash. So how this is really recommended to use is you would matte varnish the model, or a gloss or satin varnish it. The reason is because that pigment it's going to have less surface tension, and it'll go to the recesses. So after you varnish it, so I did not varnish mine because I'm not basically like covering the whole model in this stuff. I'm just touching small little areas and pushing the pigments where I want it. And then you're going to take a Q-tip with some mineral spirits on there after it dries a little bit. So you're going to paint it on there, let it dry, and then you're going to go back in with that mineral spirit and get rid of what you want to get rid of. This is like about the most customizable weathering process you can get, which is a lot of fun. So I recommend, if you've never done this before, definitely try it out. It's a lot of fun. Just know that you need to prepare your model appropriately, and it takes a lot longer for it to dry. And after you're done, the model will be a lot darker than what it was before. So if you need to go back in, let it dry, you can go back in with like a khaki and through the airbrush, and you can go right on top of the panel there, and you can highlight those panels a little bit brighter, just to make the model pop a little bit harder if you did a little bit too much. So now it's totally dried. I go back in, and I'm using the Pro Curl Advanced Flesh Tone for the wood grain on all the handles of the tools. And this goes pretty quick. There's only a handful of tools on this model specifically, so this one's sort of tucked up underneath the fender well there. But then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Army Painter Field Gray, and we're going to simulate that the decals, that the original paint underneath this tan desert paint job, which is historically correct. So yeah, I'm going to link my Opal Blitz video in here right now, and I do the same technique with that, and I really like the result from it. It looks one, historically correct, and two, it just adds a little bit more character to the model. So, and then after you're done with that, you're going to apply your decals, apply your stowage, your guys, and then you're going to Krylon matte varnish the whole thing. And then after that, you let it dry, and then you're going to take a number 2 pencil, and you're going to hit all the metallic edges, just to get that metallic flare. So the tracks, any of the guys, like the rifles and stuff, I get into the the gun breech area, and I highlight it. So you can see the model here. I think it came out really good. This is about 2.5 hours of painting. So yeah, I think it came out great, and I had a lot of fun doing it. You guys need to stay tuned though. I will shortly be pushing a video for Panzer III with a whole bunch of stowage and stuff that I'm excited about. So stay tuned for that one. Well, again, thanks guys for tuning in.